Well, hey guys, welcome back. I have been a little busy. So it's been a couple weeks since my last video, and not a lot has happened, but it feels like a lot has happened, so we're gonna catch up. Here we are. This video is gonna kind of include a few things. Right now it is 3:30 in the afternoon. There are mosquitoes that want to eat me because Charleston. But it's going to be a little jumbled this afternoon, but I am going to include some clips from the day leading up to this point as well, because it is going to include a what I eat in a day, because I want to give you guys kind of an example of what I'm trying to follow right now in order to reach my goals. So if you have been here before, welcome back. If you are new here, hello. My name is Karen. I am just somebody who decided one day to pick up a camera and start uploading stuff on YouTube. I have, in the last 7.5-ish years, followed a low-carb diet in order to get my blood glucose levels under control, as well as try to lose some weight. I was really successful at that. I lost a good chunk of weight, actually about 60 pounds, but most recently I've regained a little less than 30. Just because there's been a lot of loss, a lot of chaos, and life been life and pretty hard. So for the last couple of weeks, I have been back on track following a high protein diet, focused on staying in a calorie deficit for my activity level. Anyway, in this video, we are going to have a what I eat in a day, but you'll see me in different clothes for that because when I got home, I changed out of my pig t-shirt from work, catching up on the rest of it. So the what I eat in a day will be a little bit later. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and catch up on the other stuff. 2 weeks ago, I had an appointment with my regular primary care doc. I have not had my blood work done since 2023. So I talked to her and I was like, listen, I've been, the last 7 or 8 months, my diet has been that of an unsupervised college kid. It's been terrible, and I really would like to do my blood work right now and know in advance it's going to be terrible, and know in advance, I want you to know in advance it's going to be bad. So I don't want to get lectured, but I want a baseline to be able to compare it to 6 months from now or whatever. And I'm almost mad because it wasn't that bad. I wanted it to be really bad so that it could, I don't know, kick me right in the butt to get. I was a little pissed, not gonna lie. So I'm gonna share a little bit on my blood work with you. Not a whole lot. Some of my numbers are exactly the same as 2023, or very, very close. So there's only one abnormal number, and I'm working on that. So my A1C is unchanged. The last time that I had it was 5.7, so it's right at that level of right at pre-diabetic. Previously I had type 2 diabetes, so I am still out of the actual type 2 diabetic A1C range without medication. So I'm still proud of it. I would love it to be lower, but considering how bad my diet has been, 5.7 makes me pretty happy. So I am okay with it. So yeah, my A1C was 5.7, not the best, but really not bad, all things considered. So aside from that, we did my regular metabolic panel. All of my numbers, my potassium, sodium, creatinine, all of those things were totally within the normal range, except for my vitamin D. I looked at my previous records and my doctor had never run a vitamin D on me, so I have no idea if I've been deficient in the past, but I am definitely deficient right now. So you want that between 30 and 90, and my number is 23. So yesterday I did pick up a D3 and K2 supplement to try to include, because frankly, while I have plenty of sunlight, it's 100 degrees in the sun and I hate it. So I know that I'm not going to just be getting all of my vitamin D from the sun, and that I do need to supplement. So I added a vitamin D supplement. Today was my first day on that. My liver numbers were great though. My AST was 18, previously was 17. My ALT was 13, previously was 17. So my liver numbers have always kind of stayed in that range. This is something that I pay very, very close attention to because I do drink alcohol. I typically, let's say most days, I have one glass of wine when I get home. It kind of became a ritual during COVID where when we would get home from work, we would have our one drink and kind of defrag for the day. And so that's what we still do most days. We have a drink, and usually we take a walk around the neighborhood with the drink at the same time and just kind of leisurely talk about the day, catch up with our daughter, and it's family walk time. So normally a glass a day, I don't sweat that. But the fact that I do drink consistently, on a regular basis, I do pay attention to those liver numbers because sadly, and some of you do know this, some may not, but my older sister passed away a few years ago from liver failure as a result of alcohol use disorder. So it's something I do pay very close attention to. Hello, animals that were not supposed to come out here. Thanks.
Fuck, I'm sorry. Come on, dogs. Hey, get back in there. Come on. Fuck, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay, I can edit all of this out.
All right, get your ass back in there. Hey, come on.
Come on. Go in.
Come on. Get your bulbous ass away.
Love you.
Sorry, internet fam.
Do you want to come and say hi? I haven't seen you in a while.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I did the dog thing. I'm
I'll
sorry.
at least cut out you swearing.
What? I didn't do it. That's what.
You swear a lot.
Not.
You're not pointing at the camera. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I think you should keep all that.
Well, yeah, I just have to cut out you dropping the F-bomb a good couple
Just
times.
do the, what the, beep, boop, boop. You know, that thing. Right?
Go away.
You should keep it.
I love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, it's organized chaos in this place all the time. Okay. So let's get back on track. Anyway, I do, me and my siblings, and also my husband, who just saw, we do all pay very close attention to our liver numbers just because that is something that is personal and emotional and an intentional thing to try and make sure we're always looking at this pretty good. So, moving on. She also ran my lipid panel. Now, the last time that I had my blood work done, I was full on ketovore. I typically averaged like 5 to 10 grams of carbs a day. I was very, very restricted, high fat, high protein, but very little in the way of carbohydrates. So we are comparing that to what is now essentially like a pretty, maybe like a 60-40 diet or like 70-30, because most days for the last several months, breakfast and lunch will be good and healthy and wonderful, and then dinner will be absolutely lousy and garbage, and I'll get really snacky and peckish. So not the best diet, not the worst, but not the best. So I'm going to give you my previous numbers as well as my current numbers. So my total cholesterol currently is 157, which is right in the healthy range. They want it less than 200. Previously it was 203. Now, my doctor was not concerned with 203 because it was right there at that number. And she's like, I'm not even going to talk to you about statins because 203 is not scary. And I appreciate her very much for that. My HDL was previously, the last several times I've done my blood work, has been in the mid-90s, which my doctor has always been thrilled about my HDL being so high. I think the last time it was 95. Previously it was like 93 one time. I think 96 one time. But previously 95. We want that number over 50. and this time it was 69. So it's still an excellent HDL number, but it has dropped a little in time. My LDL previously was 101. You want this under 100 according to, traditional medicine. So previously 101, this time was 80. So again, an excellent number. My triglycerides were what I really expected to be terrible, just because they've always been so great following a low carbohydrate diet, that I expected them to be awful. So you want them typically less than 150, less than 100 is excellent, but less than 150 is what the doc is looking for. Previously it was 37, and it's always been in the 30s, as long as I was following a low carb diet. This time was 36, so still an excellent triglycerides number. And then we also ran my VLDL, which is my very low density lipoprotein, which is kind of what they consider, I think this is like your oxidized LDL. I'm gonna mess that up, but it's kind of like your unhealthy LDL, like your most oxidized and bad particles. And so it was previously 7.4, and it's currently 7.2, so that's in a great range too. I can't remember what you want it under, but it's well within the nice healthy range. So that's where we're at. I have the proof. I had a brand new phlebotomist. She was very sweet, and so I told her she did a great job, but she did bruise me. So yeah, that's just kind of catching up on my blood work. So I plan on having it done again in 6 months, just to compare, to see kind of how things change, particularly with my A1C, and see how that changes with me trying to remove processed foods and things from my diet. So overall, I'm pleased with it. I'm glad I'm not having to erase a lot of damage and start over. But at the same time, I'm kind of surprised that it wasn't worse. So either way, I'm happy that my A1C did not increase. Happy my triglycerides are in a really healthy place. And yeah, so I have a nice baseline for terrible diet, or at least not great diet, and what my blood work looks like with that. And we have a baseline to compare it to a little ways down the road and see how things go as I work towards reaching my goals. That said, we're going to catch up on the rest of the personal life. Do you have any idea how hard it is for an ADHD person to continue a thought process?
Have you told these people about our new channel that's possibly happening? Also, come here. I want to talk to you about your extended warranty on your car. No, I don't.
I live with this every single day. You guys have no idea.
Every day.
This is a house full of shiny people and shiny dogs, and everybody is ADHD, and we all interrupt each other all the time, and I'm trying to get stuff done, and he's just interrupting me the whole time.
Where's your camera?
Right there.
Ah, okay. I've been looking in the wrong spot. I was looking over here. It is not where the camera goes.
So, we're starting a new channel.
Eventually.
The channel.
You're whispering. I can hear you. They can't hear you.
Anyway, yeah, I'll let her tell you about the channel. Okay.
Can you go away? I love you so much, but I'm gonna...
Ah!
Anyway, she's violent.
I flung cold water at her. Love you! Yeah. It's 26 years of entertainment with that one. Okay. If you haven't met Richard before, that's him. He's quite shiny, like the rest of us, but I love him to death. Always entertaining, that one. So, okay, now we're going to talk about my meltdown. If you watched my last video, you heard about a gentleman that comes into my job all the time, and we're great friends, who remarked on my weight gain. If you did not see my last video, an old fella, brutally honest, you know how old people are sometimes, came into the store. We are old friends and I love him to death, I really do. Remarked to me like, looks like you put on a few pounds since the last time I saw you. And I called him a name and we had a whole thing, but like, we're friends, so it was cool. But at the same time, it really did hurt my feelings. But I was able to kind of go, he's old, like they don't have a filter anymore. It's like the filter expires at a certain age or something. And so I kind of brushed it off. Well, a couple of days ago, this was Wednesday. Today is Friday that I am recording this. So Wednesday, my district supervisor came into the store. I hadn't seen him in a few months and I love him to death. He is like family to us. He is a wonderful, wonderful human. And I would preface this by saying, I know he was not trying to hurt my feelings. He was not trying. But he absolutely did. He freaking shattered my soul on Wednesday. Now, he is someone who has struggled a good bit with his weight, still does. He kind of tends to crash diet and yo-yo. And I've tried to talk to him about changes that he could make in the past and things. And like, we are great friends. So this is not, like I said, I know he wasn't trying to hurt my feelings. But he came up to me, wait, hey, buddy, little sky panda, just hanging out with me. Anyway, came up to me and he kind of like looked me up and down a little bit and he goes, guess that diet isn't really working anymore, is it? And I just kind of like a little bit of a, excuse me? And he goes, I can tell you've regained it. And I didn't know what to say. Like, everything in me could have been cruel and hateful and said mean things back, but I just don't have it in me. And I let it fester. I let it fester all afternoon and all evening. Here's the thing. I had an absolute emotional breakdown that night. And poor husband, who you just saw, just poor thing, just got all of it. It just all unloaded at the same time. And the problem is when someone has spent their entire life since single digits, 8 years old was the first time that I recall having comments made about my weight. When you have harbored this, this self-conscious, these hang-ups about your body for so long, when someone brings attention to it, it brings back everything you've ever heard that was negative. It brings back when I was 19 years old and getting ready to get married. This was a couple of weeks before my wedding, and we went to visit my mother-in-law at her work, and one of her co-workers walked up to me and tapped me on the hip and said, "Getting a little fat, Karen, don't you think?" I can remember how warm it was. I can remember that I tried to laugh it off and then I ran to the bathroom crying. And I was self-conscious because I had gained like 15 pounds and was worried about my wedding dress. I remember being 21 years old after I had my son, and I took him, he was maybe a week old. We took him to visit my husband's best friend and his family at their business that they owned. And we were in there with this brand new baby, and one of the people that worked there came up and goes, "You got another one in there? Still a little big, ain't you?" And I remember it. And I remember going and sitting in the car for the rest of the time that Richard was socializing with the family. And those things stay with you, and it's hard not to hear those voices when someone brings it up again. Because when you have these insecurities, they're very deep, and it's hard to get over them. Time doesn't really change that. And I don't know when they disappear, if they ever do. And I am really proud of myself for how far I've come and how much my health has improved, and the weight I've lost, even with the regain, the weight I've lost from where I was is still tremendous, you know. I mean, almost 50, 40 something pounds. And so I'm still so proud of myself. But if you hear it, God, it comes right back. It comes back so hard, and it hits you like a Mack truck, and it hurts. And I immediately went into this mental cycle of replaying all of those things and beating myself up over behaviors. Immediately, I'm thinking to myself, what can I do to restrict more? What can I do to get more activity and burn more calories? What can I do to try and make more progress faster so I don't have to hear this again? Like that's where my headspace was. And I think that Richard could tell that I had a lot on my mind, so I unloaded. And I think it was good because I've never been that vulnerable with him before. And I think it was an important conversation to have. And I think that he understands a little bit better why I struggle the way that I do when it comes to eating healthy and when it comes to my weight. So I told him, like, it's hard for me to have the discipline not to have things that he or our daughter have in the house. If they're available, I want them. If they suggest takeout, it's really difficult for me to say no to that. And I really need a support system here in the house to help foster an environment where I'm not faced with those kinds of tough decisions that I have a really, really hard time with. What he mentioned about another channel, it is something I've created, but we have not uploaded the first thing. So it's called Life Between the Highlights, and what we've talked about doing is starting a podcast about relationships. It is that I'm segueing into this because of that conversation and my being vulnerable with him. I think that that's a good way to explain this. So Richard and I met when we were very young. I was 17, he was 19. We were married 2 years later. Another 2 years after that, we had our first child. I mean, we've been together since '99. It's been 26 years. And it has been, I think that there are a lot of things that have brought us to this point of having a really successful relationship, and a really successful and happy and content marriage. And what we've talked about doing is kind of sharing some of the experiences that have led us to this point. Things that improved our relationship, things that might have, been some curveballs along the way. But we have a lot of people that come to us that ask us how we make it work, and how have y'all kept it alive for so long, and people that are surprised when they see us together, and how he is my best friend. They're the only people that I want to spend time with outside of him are like my kids, and my dogs. But he's my best friend, and I think that is the biggest thing that has made our relationship as strong as it has, is that there's a loyalty and a friendship there. And so we've talked about kind of starting this podcast type thing where we'll sit and have different topics that we'll discuss, and then we'll also do like some viewer questions. We might do some lives where we can answer questions, but take some, even anonymous type questions that we can then answer or address those types of things and how we would handle it in our relationship or if we've handled it in the past, and how we've overcome the obstacles that might have broken up other people. So that's just a little bird in your ear for something that is coming eventually, but it's back burner right now. So life between the highlights. That is they're peeking at me through the door. I love you, but stay inside anyway. So that's enough of me blabbing. I've blabbed for 30 minutes. So I'm gonna wrap it up. We're gonna make the what I eat in a day like real rapid fire, and that's that. All right, it is 11 a.m. I am just now having my first meal. I think I just got distracted. I've been at work since 4 a.m. and this is where we're at today. So this morning I am having a yogurt cheesecake that I prepped yesterday. So I will throw the ingredients on the screen, but essentially it's some whey protein powder, non-fat Greek yogurt, and some sugar-free Jell-O pudding mix. And then I added 3 large strawberries on there that I got cut up and ready. So I'm going to throw the macros on the screen for this, including the strawberries. 34 grams of protein, I do remember that, but I don't remember the number of calories. Lots of protein to get me going for the rest of my extremely long work day. And I've got some water with electrolytes off to the side that I'm going to have with it. And yeah, then I'm going to, hopefully my grocery truck will get here eventually and I'll be able to get some work done. So here we go. All right, here's what I'm working with. So I have this Apple Harvest kit, which is super tasty. It just went out of date, so this is a free-for-all. So I'm going to split this between me and Richard, so it'll end up half of all of these numbers. So 225, a couple of little grams of protein, nothing crazy. Then I have each of us 4 ounces of grilled chicken that I cubed up, and then this is 1 2-ounce serving of protein pasta. So I'm going to split this between the 2 of us also, just to add a little extra something into the salad. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's done and what the total macros are. Okay, so I basically just split everything evenly from the salad kit, and then I have the 4 ounces of chicken in each, 1 ounce of the cooked protein pasta in each. So I will throw the macros on the screen. Basically, what we're going to do, I'm going to take Richard his, I'm going to take mine with me, and we're going to give him a little shaky shake. So you can see what it looks like when it's done. And I'm going to have my sugar-free Red Bull with mine. Richard is going to have this guy with his, which is delightful if you have not had it. You cannot taste that it is fire. Okay. So. So I think we use the pasta kind of like dipped. But it's all in there. Alright. So I'm going to go have lunch with my sweetie. See y'all after a while. Alright, just finished making everybody's dinner, and I kind of had a little trouble figuring out what I wanted to make with all of our prepped stuff, but I think I came up with something really fantastic. And so I'm going to show it to you. I am outside, so hopefully we don't have too many bugs that swarm us, at least that swarm my plate. So I will show you. Hold on. All right, so 454 calories, 38 grams of protein. So we have 1 cup of rice under here. And this is pre-cooked. It's been refrigerated for 24 hours. So technically, persistent starch. I have tested this with great success. And this is a dinner bowl, so it's actually like a really good size. I have a 1/4 cup of shelled edamame. I have 2 cups of steamed Normandy vegetables, and then 4 ounces of cooked grilled chicken. And then I have 1 tablespoon of kind of watered down yum yum sauce drizzled over the top. So this, when you look at it by comparison, it's actually like a really large, high volume type of meal. So I'm hoping that by starting to implement these types of things, by doing a larger, like a high volume sort of thing, that I would feel more satisfied, because I am used to having that stomach stretch and that full feeling. And my mother-in-law cleaned out her freezer and gave me this gigantic, like 5-pound bag of these Normandy vegetables. I gotta do something with them. It's not something I would normally pick up, but I'm excited. I mean, it's just like a kind of makeshift teriyaki bowl. There are bugs. I'm going inside. I'm not eating out here. But that's my dinner. 454 calories and however many 30-something grams of protein. And I think I have a little yogurt cup. No, flies. Oh my God, I'm going inside. I have a yogurt cup that I'm going to have for dessert later. But this is it for now. Alright, guys. So my macros got adjusted a little bit. I've since taken off my makeup because my eyes were on fire trying to get today's video like edited and get going through it. So I was like, I'm just gonna take off everything. So I did adjust my macros a little bit because I was not able to finish that bowl, y'all. Like, it was huge and I ended up leaving like a little bit of everything. So I tried to kind of measure out what I left just to try and get as accurate as I could with my macros for the day. So not filmed. A couple of things that I just want to make sure y'all are aware of that are included in my macros. So number one, earlier today with the vitamin, the vitamin D3K2 supplement is supposed to be taken with a higher fat meal, of which I had none. So I measured out 1 tablespoon of natural peanut butter, and this is like the Deli Fresh natural peanut butter, and took it with that, just because it is a fat soluble vitamin. So I took that. That is included in my full day macros. The little buggy vampire. Also, I have 2 glasses of rosé wine included in my macros today. So those are all included. The way that the Carbon Diet app works, it just kind of 50-50 splits the calories between carbs and fat. So those particular macros are a little off, but at least the calorie count is accurate. So those are included. As you can hear, the cicadas are already here, even though it is just the very first week of June. But they're loud and annoying, and the bugs are horrendous. So I'm gonna go inside, but I just wanted to wrap it up. I was planning on having a little yogurt cup, but I am still really full from dinner, and I don't think I have it in me. So I'm gonna sit on the couch. I'm gonna snuggle with my dogs. We have been binge watching Blacklist for the last several weeks, and Richard just turned on the very last episode, so we're getting ready to finish it. And yeah, it's so hard to finish any sort of series that you're on. It's like depressing. So I'm gonna go inside, watch that last episode of Blacklist, and then I'm gonna go night-night because I have to get up again at 3 o'clock in the morning for work tomorrow. So wrapping it up, I'm gonna throw my full day of macros on the screen so y'all can see how I ended my day. So my total that I'm looking for is around 1,600 total calories and about 120 grams of protein. So I got really close, really, with all of my macros for today. So I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of the fact that I measured everything. I'm proud that I stuck with my plan, and I also I'm happy that I'm going to wrap up my day and get ready for bed, and I feel satisfied. I'm not going to bed hungry and, feeling deprived. So I feel pretty good. So anyway, I know this was a lengthy one. Thank you for hanging in with me. If you made it here to the end, I really appreciate you. And we're going to try and do some of these things more often. So see you soon. It is almost my bedtime. I will see y'all on the next one.